this video is a little out of context, I wanted to add this footage regardless. Soon after our arrival in the Balearic Islands, and while anchored in Puerto Piensa on Mallorca Island, we were frightened out of our wits by this firefighting aeroplane that came in to do a water landing so close to Paw Paw that we had visions of how on earth we were going to explain an insurance claim. An aeroplane crashed into us. Thankfully that wasn't necessary, but the pilot couldn't have got any closer if he had tried. Given that I didn't add this footage to our Mallorca video because I'd forgotten we had it, I decided to add it here, as this was definitely an engineering feat in our humble opinion, especially watching the pilot practice his takeoff, scooping and dumping maneuvers. We'd never seen anything like this before and found it totally fascinating. Today is the 27th of July, and as the sun rises in the east, we are heading west, or specifically southwest, to the island of Ibiza and Formentera. And we say goodbye to Mallorca today. We have enjoyed our time here on the island, certainly the northern part of the island. Didn't so much enjoy the southern part, primarily because of weather. We spent the last 3 days moving anchorages to avoid weather in all different directions from the south. So be it. And as you can see, woohoo! The first time in the Med, we are actually sailing with sails up, no engines, sailing along at anything between 6.5 and 7 knots, being reach in about 10 to 13 knots of wind. So we are happy, hurrah, at last. Such a nice feeling to be sailing again. Quite a few other yachts are out as well. But as you can see, lots of white clouds, nice blue sky, and a reasonably flat at the sea. And we have wind, most important. So it is 3:30 in the afternoon. We have arrived on the island of Ibiza, and we're a little wiser this time, we hope, in that we looked on Google Maps to see where all the hotels were and where the jet ski outlets were, etc. And we didn't go anywhere near those anchorages. We've actually come into a nice big bay, mostly yachts, a few powerboats, but it's peaceful and it's quiet and it's not rolly. So we're just hoping that it stays like this and we can have a pleasant few days and a decent rest after the last 3 nights. Today is Friday the 28th of July, and we've decided to stay another night or 2 in the anchorage on the northern end of Ibiza, and we're on a dinghy excursion. We're just having a snoop around the bay, see what's going on. So we thought there was a little brook or a river down here, but all we see is a little beach. It's not actually a river. Come round. Here we go. And there might be a restaurant up there, but this is it. And we believe people are actually living in this structure. I think that guy might be butt naked, quite honestly. Come round the shoreline. There's Captain Roy. Very pretty. Very pretty scenery. And it's lovely on Calm Bay. That's the most important right now for us. We're sick of rolly anchorages, quite honestly. It's like another structure up there. No idea what it might be. Maybe somebody's house. You can see cars up and down the road. And we're carrying along back to where we're anchored, which is in amongst all those boats, and around this little headland here, and there's another beach. We're going to go have a snoop. Here's another little beach area. You see the buildings a bit more clearly. I don't know if those are restaurants or what, but it looks lovely. So there's a little lagoon as well, if people swim. Very picturesque. Coming up to the other beach area, and obviously there's steps for people to come down, swim. And we just come around this little headland here, set of rocks. Probably see the swimming area on the other side, the houses, and there's the little beach up ahead, and we're going to paddle in. We don't upset anybody with an engine in the bathing area. There's the other swim area here. People come down and go swim. The water is absolutely crystal clear. I'll come round. I'm actually going to turn round into the... I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but you can see the bottom so clearly. This is the second beach that we've come to. We've just left the dinghy on a little waterfront pier there. I'm not sure if we're supposed to do that, but hey ho, we've done it. And this is the view. It's actually beautiful. Today is Saturday the 29th of July, and we spent really pleasant relaxing day yesterday in the kaya just beyond this, or Kala just beyond this headland, and we decided to move a little bit further along the coast today. This is the scenery, just for a change really, and to work our way down to Formentera. Very picturesque. So we've been tunneling along the northwest coast of Ibiza, and we've done about, I don't know, between 10 and 15 nautical miles. Our anchorage is up ahead next few miles, but this is the scenery along the way, and it's really, I keep saying this, very picturesque, but it truly is quite stunning. And it's amazing how different this island and Mallorca are to Menorca. Menorca was basically as flat as a pancake with the cliffs all the way around it, almost like a plateau. But this island and Mallorca, very interesting landscapes. Here is a colour that Roy wanted to have a look at. I think it can fit maybe 2 or 3 boats in there. Depends if he wants to get up close and personal to the rocks. Looks like it has a little beach ashore. no other yachts here at the moment. This is the party central area of Ibiza, from what we understand. This anchorage ahead is supposed to be quieter, and as I come round, you'll see in the distance more yachts, and that's the main party area. And as I come round, you'll see all the hotels and that along here as well. So I think we may just avoid this area. We'll see. Here's another example of the idiots we've been dealing with. We're in an anchorage in the middle of nowhere. All the other good anchorages are absolutely chock-a-block. We've had to come into this anchorage, and we still have these fools coming into it and racing between the yachts. I just don't get it. I don't know where their brain cells actually are. I don't think they've got any, to be honest. So this is after their day out in the sun. Everybody racing back. Come around this way. Marina is in there. So as Roy says, the marinas are empty during the day and the anchorages are full. And we can't get into the marinas because they're all private berths. We can't get into the anchorages either. Don't you just love the Med? Although more yachts arrived in the anchorage as daylight faded, a pretty sunset wrapped up our day. It had been some time since we could see the western horizon, or almost see it. After a peaceful night, thankfully, we were, however, rocked awake by a speed merchant, so we weighed anchor and set off for pastures new. Today is Sunday the 30th of July, and we are leaving Ibiza and heading to Formentera. So this is the scenery, not a cloud around, not a low cloud. It will look more like a black and white video at this stage, but this is the scenery as we come down the coast. Zoom in, fancy houses up on the west side here. That's it, more scenery. Very, very pretty. Mountain and greenery that fits. I hope the colour of this rock face comes out in the video. It's just after 11 o'clock in the morning, and we've arrived in Formentera. And this is the scenery we're looking at. Very, very pretty. This is like a very low land in front of us. The winds are out of the east, so we are behind this low land. And as I come round, you'll see that it is absolutely chock-a-block full of boats. But we've come further up this coast to hopefully be away from the mayhem, but we'll see if it catches up with us. Very flat island compared to the other two that we've just been at, Ibiza and Mallorca, but very pretty. So here's another example of somebody that comes through the anchorage, and there's a swimming area buoyed off between us and this boat coming around. So really all they have to do is go behind us. There's nobody there. But nope, they'll come right through. Come around this way, so we'll zoom in and see who these fools actually are. Zoom in as they come by. There you go. The wonderful Z generation. Now after we dropped the anchor, this is the invasion we're dealing with. Boats in every direction. Come around. See through the windows. And they all come to the front of us. Here's a party boat from Ibiza, obviously arrived, screaming and shouting. There's more this side. And here come a lot more. So here comes another one. So we're just going to leave. At this stage we had already got into the dinghy to head ashore for a snoop around, but we were rocked around so badly we decided it was far too dangerous and promptly got back onto Pawpaw, raised the dinghy and weighed anchor. Nothing was worth that hell. Moving further down the coast to where most of the sailing yachts were anchored was marginally better. Finding a spot between these already anchored boats at least precluded any numpties from anchoring on top of us. It's fair to say at this stage we were definitely over the Balearics, but unfortunately we had to wait for the unfavourable weather to the south of us and miserable weather arriving from the north before we could move. To preserve our sanity, we eventually found a way to get ashore and have a snoop around. So we eventually got ashore. We found a way into a little lagoon where we've left the dinghy on the beach and walked into the little town. And we've come to the town harbour / marina and asked where the dinghy dock is, and this is it. I'll zoom in and you'll see that you tie up to a pole on the fence and you walk along this very narrow little ledge, and you then walk along without falling in or breaking an ankle, and you come in there. Now I'm going to pan around and show you the size of this actual establishment, and that is the best they can do for the cruisers. This is an enormous harbour. It goes all the way down to the far end there. And come around. There's the entrance. There's all the yachts at anchor, thousands literally. And there's the fuel dock. Here's the ferry terminal. But I'm going to walk down so you can actually see what's on the other side of this. And here's the rest of this harbour. I'm going to pan around. You can see the building right in the distance there. Pan in. Big motor yacht coming in. And there's dinghy dock. The ferry dock, and some more wall. And all they can do is give the cruisers a pissy little concrete ledge in a dilapidated old haul-out slip. After an enjoyable walk around the town and a fabulous meal at one of the local restaurants, we could feel our stress levels and blood pressure returning to normal levels. And thankfully, by the time we returned to Pawpaw, the weekend revellers had departed. But it did remain party central, with a few crude charter yachts around us celebrating special occasions. The old adage of, if you can't beat them, join them, springs to mind as we sat out in the cockpit and soaked up the atmosphere until the sun set. By then the churned up waters had started to subside and we could head for our beds. Following day, after a surprisingly peaceful night considering the mayhem we had dealt with earlier, but not wanting a repeat performance, we decided that a bicycle ride around Formentera Island would be an enjoyable way to spend our day. Today is the 31st of July and we decided to do a bike ride around the island of Formentera, and in particular coming down to this anchorage. And as Roy says, pick your mayhem. This is Cala Soana or Saona, something like that. Anyway, this is what it looks like. Beautiful waters, not a lot around. Say hello, Captain Roy. And woohoo. And I'll continue around, and there's a hotel here and there's a restaurant sign, so we're going to go and have a look there, see if we can get a coffee. And that's pretty much it. Very desolate, very dry. We might as well be back in Arizona. As we've walked a little further along, this is the beach at the head of the bay. Everybody out enjoying their day. After I snoop around, a delicious, albeit very expensive lunch was enjoyed at a rather upmarket fancy establishment we weren't expecting, especially since we both looked like something the cat had dragged in. So here's some of the country views that we are seeing as we return on our bicycle ride. It's very, very dry, but these walls are from the Moorish period. They date back quite a few thousand years. Oh, I think here comes a car. Let me get out the way. And of course, all the roads are dirt roads. Here's a little bit more of the scenery. This is the lagoon. If I actually zoom in, you can actually get in here and leave the dinghy as well if you don't want to go to the dinghy dock at the harbour. Approximately 12,000 people live permanently on this small island, which is only 20 kilometers long by 2 kilometers wide. Megalithic graves provide evidence of colonization on the island that can be traced back to over 4,000 years, but it has also been occupied by the Greeks, followed by the Romans circa 200 BC. After the collapse of the Roman Empire in the 5th century, Byzantines occupied the island before the Moors. During the island's more recent history, it suffered greatly during the Spanish Civil War, and from 1939 to 1942 there was a concentration camp on the island for political dissidents from mainland Spain awaiting execution.